And I think that's the thing with that. And like in my case as well, like I always felt like, hey man, if I have these things, then I'm okay. Like, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we're young and impressionable, like for me growing up where I grew up, I listened and I don't know why. I had a group of friends that were my age, and we always hung out with older people, you know? Mm-hmm. And so there was always this, and I think a lot of it had to do with our ability to get drugs. They wanted to get high.
Sure.
You know, we had things that they wanted. They trusted us to give us things that we wanted. But I would listen to them, and it would be a conversation, something like this, like, did you see his girlfriend? She's fucking screaming.
Right, right.
And then I could look at that lady, and I could make a judgment based on her and the girl next to her and go, okay, she's screaming hot and she's not.
Right.
So now I know based on what this older person that I trust is feeding me this information about, I can go, okay, that's what I need, because I bet that makes him feel good to be talked about like that. And I want to feel good to be talked about like that. So if I get those in, it was kind of the same thing with the house and the job and the money. You know,
did you see his house? Did you see his car?
Yeah. Did you see that?
Right.
Like, fuck, man, we're going over to so-and-so's house. He's got a badass pad to party.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, he always throws good parties because he's got great money, you know, and that kind of stuff. And I could go and I could visually see what that looked like. And I could see where I was at, and I could make a judgment and be like, well, I'm not there. Right. I need to be there in order to have people talking about me, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah, and then I'll be happy.
Then I'll be okay.
It's always in the future.
Yeah. You know, and so I think that's where it comes from. But how do we get away from that, right? Like, how do we step away from needing that validation and that social acceptability, and understanding that, you know, that self-love is really where the value's at.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for me, I had to break.
Hit the bottom.
Yeah.
Right?
I had
to get dragged across.
Exactly. Like I had to, you know, go through absolute hell to find a place where, you know, I could be okay with who I was once I stopped numbing myself and stopped the self-destruction, and then started doing some work on myself and started to see the value that I actually do hold, and to see myself right-sized, right? Because my perception of myself was just so misproportioned from moment to moment. Like, you know, one day I thought I was the absolute shit when this girl would deny me, and the next minute, you know, like, I'm a piece of shit when I'm interacting with people at work, you know? So it's like I never had a right-sized view of myself. So once I started doing some work and I was able to look at myself right-sized, I was actually able to ask myself, what do I want? Because like you said, you know, I'd be in these situations where this dude would say, damn, did you see his wife? She is screaming. And all of a sudden I'm like, I guess that's what screaming is. Like, I guess that's what screaming hot is. But I would forget about the fact, like, why don't I make my own decision? Do I think she's attractive? Like, is she attractive to me? And I was able to apply that sort of concept to everything in my life, where I was like, okay, like
after you got sober.
After I got sober.
Right.
And only after I got sober, right? Like, and it took a little bit of time sober as well. Like, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months, I started thinking about that stuff, because I started to have the confidence in myself that I was capable of doing things outside what I had thought I was only capable of. Right. And so for me, it was like I looked at the house and I was like, is this important to me that I have a house? Like, is it worth me having this job to keep this house? And I was like, no, it sure as fuck isn't. Like, let it go.
Yeah.
And so I did, you know, and then the job. I fucking hate this job. I hate this job. Why am I still here? Like, is it that important?
I'm really proud of you for doing what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
And that's what we get, right? Like, when we step out and we start following our passion, nobody's mad at us. We're not rejected. Nobody. I mean, there's the few people that are scared because they want absolute security, and it comes from a place of love. But Most people are like, good for you.
Right.
Good for you chasing your fucking dream, getting rid of your house. Good for you going on a date with that girl. You know? Good for you liking her even though she's not. She's subpar. Not really.
My wife. My wife is beautiful.
Your wife is beautiful.
Brianna is smoking hot.
Yeah. We're very fortunate.